Here we are.
I feel like once the beat starts, really
we
comes
should
in with the bass drum, we can talk.
We can start talking.
Yeah.
All
but
right.
until that happens, we can't. So I'm gonna point out that you gave me the headphones that you did not peel the professional sticker off of.
Oh.
I like
so
that you gave me those.
They're professional still.
Yeah. We're still
All
pros.
right. Well, hello and welcome to the Moon Underwater Pubcast. I'm Kelly Daniels.
I am Steve Jones.
And today is another first.
Notice.
Actually, it may be the first. Those on, because we're going to put this up in the line of to be published episodes. So we're doing a time travel thing.
We are.
That'll come in handy because we're going to talk about our Everybody Wants Some episode. But this will come out before because we want to be timely. But right here, right now, we are at the Last Picture House.
Yeah.
Lovely Last Picture House lounge, and we just watched a absolutely great movie, and great to see on the big screen in a balcony, no less. Dazed and Confused.
Yes. As
By
I try
Richard
to get organized over here. Thank you for covering for me, trying to.
Yeah, I'm used to it, man. It's
Oh my God.
So here's how we're gonna do an unusual mashup of two movies today.
Maybe the most unusual.
One of the most.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about Civil War, which is we're going to publish this while it's still out in movie theaters. For the first time ever, the Moon Underwater Pubcast is going to try to be timely.
We're relevant.
Yeah. We're like right on.
That's so great.
Right on time. You gotta listen to our pod, at least the first part, before you see the movie.
Right.
We watched the movie yesterday.
We did.
And it's a bit of a grim affair. Fair to say?
Yeah.
It's a kind of exciting to watch. But we thought we were going to really, for some reason, we wanted to be really professional about this and watch it twice, like movie reviewers or something.
I was a little afraid I couldn't watch it again. I mean, right away. I'll be able to see it again. It's just, it's a lot. It's heavy.
Okay. I didn't feel it was traumatic or anything. I just didn't want to watch it twice in 2 days. It's a good movie, in my opinion, not a great movie.
Even with a great movie, you want to watch it twice in 2 days?
In 2 days, probably not.
What movie is there a movie? I'm thinking of one my daughter would go, my youngest one, would go sing.
Besides pornography, I can't, nothing comes to mind.
I went with Sing.
Yeah.
She watched that every day for probably a year and a half.
Somebody did I read this, like it was a review of a pornographic film, and it was like, yeah, it was pretty good at the beginning, and it got a lot better. Then it got and then it was amazing. Then it was just very, very boring.
Yeah.
But then it slowly got better again. And
fantastic.
So yeah, what we're going to do today is drink our Miller High Lifes at the beautiful lounge, and
The Last Picture House. We need volume again on that.
we do. There we go.
Thank you. Yeah.
And we're going to talk, the first segment, we're going to have 3 segments of today's episode. The first one is Civil War, no spoilers. We're going to talk generally about it.
Yep.
And the second part is a little intermezzo. You know what an intermezzo is?
Don't.
Sounds kind of like intermission, but the way I understood intermezzo, y'all are going to want to pay attention to this if you want to throw dinner parties and stuff. I learned about it working at a fancy restaurant, waiter. Oh. And this guy gave me this tip that when things are going bad in the kitchen and you have a big table that has multiple courses and they're spending a lot of money and you don't want them to let them down.
Yeah.
And then maybe the kitchen screwed something up. Maybe you screwed something up. Is just show up with something and call it an intermezzo and give everybody like a tiny little 2-ounce thing of like sherbet or, wait, there's a fancier word than sherbet. What is that called? Not gelato, but anyway. Yeah. But just like a little palate
You're
cleanser.
You're already out-fancying me. I don't know.
There's another word for it, but
go with something in Italian.
Well, gelato, I guess you could say, but this is more like a fruit.
Say it more Italian-y.
Yeah.
Gelato.
And it just kind of cleanses the palate, and it'll buy you a good 15 minutes of delay, and plus people think they're getting something for free,
right?
Which they are. About 75 cents worth of ice cream, but So that's not why
Gelato.
we're doing the intermezzo.
It's not
We're
called
doing the
ice cream,
intermezzo
remember?
because we didn't want to watch the movie again.
No,
But they're having, because yesterday was 420
all day.
and all day was 420. And so now, but they're continuing 420 on, and Dazed and Confused, retrospective. Dazed and Confused was shown for 420. And you know how stoners are.
They don't remember what day it is.
No.
Yeah.
So that's the day after, and we're still doing 420 on 421.
Yeah.
And Dazed and Confused, the day lasts a long time. In fact, it definitely lasts until tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we're going to finish it off with Civil War, where we're going to give all the spoilers.
spoilers
we're going to
are
talk
coming.
about the plot stuff.
But not for probably 45 minutes, and we'll warn.
Something like that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. All right. So what do you got, man? What do you... I don't know. Where do we start on the Civil War?
Civil
Yeah.
War, should we start with our characters?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So it's set in in the plot, I guess. The film is set in a current day, I would say. But instead of, there being disagreements politically, there is a civil war going on where certain people in the country and certain states are kind of acting like it's not happening. Not everybody is of the same belief. And we start with photographer Lee Miller. We have her sort of...
Kirsten Dunst, right?
Kirsten
That's
Dunst is
the
Lee
actor,
Miller,
yeah.
yep. And then who do we have for the male... I don't know if you call him the male lead.
Yeah, he's
really her film,
so they're
right?
two photojournalists, war photographers. The older, grizzled photographer, and then this young kid who's not even officially affiliated, and Jesse gets involved. And then there's the guy is the writer. He's
Joe.
Yeah, and the three of them.
And then there's additionally there's Sammy.
Sammy goes
The old-
along too.
Yeah, Sammy's kind of the
Old guy. Yeah.
guy that
Has suspenders.
and
Yeah.
pants that basically go up to his man boobs.
Absolutely, but it looks good on him.
It does.
Weirdly enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's our crew, and so this is it's the United States in a full-on fighting civil war with jets and bombs and full.
And
The states that are going against the federal government are California, Texas, Florida, and it seems as though North Carolina jumped in on that.
kinda, yeah.
Which is the film really, I feel, goes out of its way to not really say much about how all this came to be.
100%.
It doesn't make any sense in any kind of way that we're looking at in today's world.
Nothing.
But you just got to go with it. And
You also have to accept the fact that somebody in control of, let's say, reserve forces in California or Texas would have the ability to command everybody there in a time when the rest of the country was split. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
And the thing is, it's not supposed to.
It's not supposed to.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just jump into my first hot take of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing about it, the movie, before I watched it, it was like, oh, it's provocative
We
and
were
it's
ready.
about our political polarization. And you're like, oh, yeah, we are very polarized. It is, and it is upsetting. And we're not in a great place politically, I'd say. I think most people would agree with that. And this really has a statement on it. And then you watch it, and
They're treading on the statement without making any statement at all.
pretty much.
It's
and,
great.
Well, here's how I say it. In the previews, the trailers before the film, one of them was the new Planet of the Apes movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this to be snarky or anything, but I do feel like Civil War is in the same genre as Planet of the Apes.
Okay, can I make my take?
Yeah.
You're off. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Because it's totally a zombie movie
How
without
dare you.
zombies.
Yeah, there's no zombies.
But it's
it
nothing.
is.
It's not political.
It's kind of like
at all.
Zombieland.
It is exactly.
Yeah, they're
where-
just
my
cruising
head,
along.
They're cruising along on the highway. They're
not killing people
Nope.
though,
Nope.
because they're journalists.
Well, because there's no zombies to kill, of course.
Yeah, just there's a lot of dead bodies.
So
Piles of dead bodies.
there are.
That's kind of the main thing.
There's some gross stuff, right? But to sort of rewind, there's you're not wrong, right? I mean, the point being that
Well,
it's closer to,
it's either zombies without zombies or Planet of the Apes without the apes.
it's like that. It's like it's dystopian. It's that there's something wrong here, but it's not that these people did it. And it doesn't tiptoe the line. It doesn't even say that there's a line that exists, which I thought made it kind of good.
I feel like when we get to the spoiler part, there's
a few tip-offs.
There were some tip-offs and some breadcrumbs, and I also think that's what was the least satisfying for me in a lot of ways.
The breadcrumbs?
I think just taking that read that it is a direct statement on today, that feels unsatisfying because it isn't really saying anything that's worth saying because this whole situation is... It is plausible that a really bad thing could happen in the United States in the next few years, but it wouldn't be like that. It just
would not
isn't this particular, jet planes coming from California to bomb the federal, forces. Just,
But it was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Was that a spoiler?
No.
Bombing?
No,
that's happening right at the very beginning. That's just, and we don't even see that happen really. And
I enjoyed the whole thing. I liked it.
I liked it. Yeah, I did too.
There were some important pieces and I think technical things that we'll get into in the second half, where I thought that there was techniques that were used that were really interesting in the storytelling, and that's sort of what we focus on, right? Like we focus on telling the story. So. Okay.
Well,
so where are our characters? Oh, sorry.
Speaking of techniques, it's a writing technique, and it's an important thing in all my fiction writing classes and stuff. I always want students to know about point of view and be aware of how the point of view you choose to tell the story changes the story completely. And this is the point of view out of all these different ways of telling a war story.
Yep.
Focusing on the press is a decision.
Absolutely.
And they go out of their way to not carry weapons, even when
it would have been really handy.
It would have been handy to have a gun, and they certainly could have grabbed a gun off the ground at a certain point or other.
But they don't. Say they probably should have?
Yeah, I would have.
Right.
I would have if I was there, and but they don't. Their weapon is the camera,
and that's it. They weren't writers.
No, they were. Well, the one guy was a writer.
Joe?
The guy, Joe, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the writer. He didn't have a camera. Spoiler, he tries to get, it ends with him getting the writer part of it.
Oh.
And they're getting the picture part of it.
Well,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because,
he's
the word guy, they're the picture guy.
Right.
So that's why he never has a camera. So they decide to tell it this way, and it's also the way...
I don't know what I was thinking he was doing there.
Did
I even see the same
I was
movie?
thinking he was going to want to sleep with the younger wannabe.
I think it's kind of obvious he did.
He did.
Spoiler.
It wasn't that obvious.
No.
Oh, yeah, that was a spoiler. Maybe it happens.
Yeah, well.
Maybe he gets with her, maybe he doesn't. You'll never know unless you watch the movie or listen to our third section.
Should we talk about the other characters, I guess? Because I want to talk about the Kirsten Dunst character.
Yep.
She's Lee Miller. Definitely a Mariana Van Zeller vibe. So,
somebody
Van
I've never
Zeller.
heard of.
Yeah, I showed you the picture today. You should go back
like
and
her.
watch the series Trafficked. It looks like her. She kind of dresses like her, sort of has a straight face like her. One, it's a really good show. And it's interesting and it feels very real. And how real any show is, I don't believe a lot of reality TV.
You're getting deep, man.
Yeah.
Is anything real?
Is anything real?
We're sliding into Dazed and Confused territory
already.
here. No, you mean reality TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
a lot of it's scripted, but I think she's very real, and so I think that was a Mariana Van Zeller, which is why, to me, it was Kirsten Dunst kind of looks like her, and then they sort of dressed her alike. And Mariana Van Zeller is a oh gosh, how would I describe her? Well, an investigative journalist, and very serious, and kind of goes after hard stories, and that's sort of what the character was in the movie, right, in Civil War. So
Yeah.
I got that vibe. Whether or not it's that's who it was supposed to be, it sure does look like it. I've been right a lot of times before.
Oh yeah,
I've
no,
looked
I
it
mean,
up.
and I don't think that's controversial or even yeah.
Ready for a
It should-
sidetrack on that?
Am I ready
Yeah.
for it? I'm just.
You were
I'm not ready.
chomping
but
at the bit.
Are there was this somebody told me this before I had to go on the stage and do a thing, and she said that there was some interview with a bull rider, and they interviewed him, and they said, "How do you prepare to do the bull ride?" He goes, "There ain't no preparing. You just sit on that bull, and they count down to one, and
And you
then
go.
you hold on." So
all right.
that's
Okay.
I'm not ready, but I'm holding on.
So, have you seen Ted Lasso?
No,
Then never mind.
I've ruined it.
I
I want to
mean,
see it. I don't know
you-
that it was ever on the channel that I have.
It's
I
on-
still call it channel.
Yeah.
some-
You have a channel.
I have a channel called Netflix and
Okay.
another channel called Max.
Apple
Preview.
TV Plus is this one.
I see. I don't have that.
You're gonna need it.
I also don't have an iPhone, as we talked about before. Which
No.
means that if I were young and single, I would never get laid. Apparently,
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what
getting
it-
green messages from you. We
That-
certainly would never hook up.
That just that hurts.
yeah, I know. Well, so there's
No, I
there's
don't.
several characters.
I hear it's
where
very good
I
and
was
touching
watching
and
it.
funny or something.
It's great. But there's a few characters that are players, and I'm like, that is this player, and looked it up, and it's like that is absolutely who it is. And
So the
they
actors.
changed into this, yeah. They're picking, they have chosen real life people to model themselves after, and sort of a nod to the fans, and it's great. So I feel like that's sort of what's been done here. Okay.
All right. That's
All right.
good. Well, all right. I have notes that I took while watching the movie.
Me too.
I've
That's what
never.
they're-
Okay. Do
I've
movies?
never done it.
I haven't either. I couldn't see anything, so my notes are like on top of each other and stuff.
Yeah.
Do movie critics? I bet you they have pins that have little lights. You think? Is that a thing? All you fans out there, just send in a message onto
I mean,
the guys.
they're not going to a movie theater to watch at this point, right? They get
no, they do.
really,
Yeah, because they want to get the full movie theater experience. Totally different watching it at home and watching it in a theater, and so a lot of critics will watch it at a big screen.
Okay. I mean, I've got the projector set up and the whole thing. It is different, and this place was really good.
Oh yeah, it's
today. Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, so, oh yeah, I'm looking at my notes. Well, here's what I wanted to say about this whole post-apocalyptic world where there's a civil war. There's a surprising number of pros to living in an apocalypse, apparently, and probably if you watch a zombie movie, there's something kind of good about it. And so I found myself counting all the good parts. First off, all the reporters,
They're all good looking.
well, they're good looking, but they're also just drunk as
Yeah.
they're just drinking hard
lot of
and
alcohol.
smoking cigarettes, and it's like they're not expecting to live into old age, so they don't care. And the one guy that is old, he's just like also just felt lucky to be there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of partying, and it isn't like quiet desperation alcoholism where people are drinking in their room alone.
No.
They are whooping it up
They are.
in the hotel bar, and it
They
looked
are.
fun. And
It did. The hotel had a generator just in case, and they needed
Yeah.
it
Oh yeah.
from time to time.
And I hear that's true. Like there are these, in war zones, all the press ends up in some hotel, like in Kabul or something. And
I was thinking the one that, oh gosh, what was her name? Amanpour. What was she was in Baghdad in the early '90s for CNN, and I always kind of wondered what that hotel was like. They were in downtown Baghdad. The rest of Baghdad
Very
getting
exciting.
bombed, and
Yeah.
they're hanging out, showing it from the hotel for CNN.
So they're living this kind of party life, or at least they're self-medicating, you might say. But there is a lot of hilarity and excitement, and they're definitely getting off on the excitement. They're getting very upset when bad things happen, but they're super stoked and excited, especially Joe.
Yeah.
He gets like...
He's a thrill seeker.
He's a thrill seeker, and they all are to some degree. And there's like... They end up in this... There's a lot of camping.
That's
it's
the part I
road-
cannot get
It's
with.
full-on road trip, but yeah, the camping seemed fun.
I had
it was
it
like
as
camping...
a dystopian road trip in my notes.
It was camping. It was a road trip, but it was
Yeah.
camping at a music festival without music. But there was just everybody's like drinking and partying.
You camp, yeah?
Yeah. I ride my bike and camp, man.
I would like to glamp.
Glamp, yeah.
Yeah, I need like cold air in the summer. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a little miniature battery-powered fan that I put in my tent with me.
When it's 800 degrees in
this
the
big.
summer here, does it?
It helps.
Well,
yeah, you
but
put it
you've
right
ridden
by your face.
120 miles, so
You put it right by your face, and you can fall asleep.
really.
Especially if you rode like 100 miles
Yeah,
on a
but
bicycle.
that's the part
It's
I'm
like-
not going to do.
and then drink
Yeah.
9 beers. So anyway, not everybody likes camping the same, but it does have a festive vibe to it. There's all these children in this
Yeah.
campsite. It's like
Yeah.
a refugee-ish
Oh, yeah.
kind of thing, and the kids are having a blast. Dogs are running loose.
Yeah,
It's great for dogs.
it's a good dog
United
thing. Yeah.
States of America looks beautiful in this road trip.
Well-
There's all these shots of like really beautiful flowers and hills, and here's another one. No traffic.
Well,
Totally by
I
themselves.
mean, there's no traffic except for the
the occasional
the
tank.
hulk of the cars that are
There's that.
yeah
Dead bodies that you have to run over
right. That's
occasionally.
yeah.
But generally, no traffic. And what else? There's,
I got more.
well, a lot of times they're playing really cool rap music while they're in the midst of battles.
yeah.
And the press is just right there embedded
what
with
was the
people.
song?
I don't know that, but
needed
it's
to look it
killer.
up.
I loved
It
it.
sounded like Public Enemy.
Yeah.
but I don't know that
I don't
it was.
think it was
Yeah.
because I know those songs, but it was just, it sounded like old school gangster rap. It was
Ish.
just badass
Yeah.
stuff. I loved it.
Yeah,
So
good
good music.
soundtrack. Yep.
It just really seems fun. And let's see. I don't know what that means.
I mean,
can't
I'm starting to
read
get
my
into
own.
my
Oh, no flexible work schedule. Nobody's waking you up. You don't have to go to the cubicle.
well,
You're just like out there. You're trying to get the shot.
but it seems like parts of the country at that time were maybe okay with that. Is
With
that
what?
right? Well, that there was some places were acting like nothing was happening.
One place. Oh, and
There's a few.
then it's farms.
Yeah,
So yeah, you had options.
some shade thrown at us farming states, I guess.
Well, it was Colorado and Montana. I don't think that's a spoiler. That-
Montana,
Where people were just having.
Missouri, another M state.
No, that's where she was from. But one of the parents was
Oh.
in Montana, just pretending
true.
like it wasn't happening on a farm or a ranch.
I think that was Missouri still. I
I don't believe you. I think you're wrong.
will have to watch it again. If only.
Yes.
Yeah.
I found myself thinking like I found this cliche popping up in my head like I'm willing to die on that hill. But after watching this movie,
You don't want to die on that hill.
not any hill.
No.
I don't care.
Nope. Dying on hill seems like
could be a-
something somebody else could do.
Could be a great hill. Perfectly good
Best hill I've ever
Yeah.
seen. Not willing to die
Still
on it.
don't want to die on it. So there's that.
We're kind of wimpy like that, though.
Yeah, we're not. Wouldn't be.
At least you camp.
I do.
Fuck. I can't even do that.
No, I would be the one that pretends it's not happening. So you could pretend it's not happening, or you could join one side, or you can join the other, or you can be a journalist. Those are your options.
Can we move to Europe? Is that,
That
we
would be-
could.
Yes.
Yeah, getting employed in Europe is another question.
We would not get
We would not get employed in Europe.
But
Yeah.
When-
Have you
how
lived here
long-
for 15 years?
how
And-
long could we get in before we start getting that welfare, though, that they have? Like, I don't.
I think it takes a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that would work. Yeah,
We
you
don't-
got
it's not a good out plan for us.
Not.
You don't
well,
have an Italian passport.
I don't know.
How hard is it to get one?
I don't know. I haven't looked
To
into
get a
it yet.
Spanish passport is fucking impossible for
Oh,
me.
really?
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We looked, and I had to be gainfully employed in Spain for at least 2 years. And I'm like, most Spanish people haven't done that.
Well,
so
but you can get some kind of residency, probably, right?
that's harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still not real easy to do.
Not easy to get residency in the United States. I mean, there's the fiance visa.
That still sucks.
Yeah, it does,
Yeah.
but you can stay while they're processing
Yeah.
it, and you just
Yeah.
you have to send in a couple $1,000 every few months just to,
Keep the lights on.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
So anyway, there were some real upsides to this whole thing, and then there was really only one downside: a pretty good likelihood of getting killed.
Yeah.
But but it seemed kind of fun, and I think the filmmakers wanted to show that there is something fun about your life being thrown into. Are you not seeing it?
No.
I thought that he meaning the Garland, Eric Garland is that
Oh
his name?
wow.
The
Look at
director.
You. Oh.
It's the director. Garland is the last
We
name.
should. We learned nothing from our
We don't
Dark
rem-
Side of the Moon
I
underwater.
don't remember names.
Yeah.
Don't
We
pay attention to names.
I don't know. The guy that directed it is
Yeah.
where I am. So yeah, nice
Garland.
job, Eric Garland. Okay.
It's Garland something.
Yeah.
Something Garland. No, I think he was very much trying to make it a these people that do it, they're excited to do it, and you hear about people that come back from war or from combat,
Yep.
and they're just bored stiff in regular life because you need that jolt of like life or death decisions. And
I got a buddy we might need to talk to who did a crazy job.
Yeah.
And may want to talk about it. We'll have a discussion to see what he would want to talk about. There's some literature that we can go along with.
Prize like bull insemination.
No.
Okay.
No. I mean combat.
No, you just said it was a crazy job. I
Well,
was thinking,
but yeah, when I tell you when this is off, you'll go, oh shit, that is crazy. And
All right.
yeah, like there's a lot of crazy jobs out there in the military.
yeah.
And fortunately, he is retiring after 20 years. So
So he lived.
he
so
sure
far.
did. Yeah. And it's somebody that I think would be interesting to talk to and get their story and get their take on some literature that I can think of.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
All right.
So yeah.
I think I wrote down zombies like 3 times in here.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of a zombie film feel, dystopian road trip, like a zombie movie without zombies. And that's kind of where I was on this, was that you mentioned Zombieland, which is one of my absolute favorites for that.
Yeah.
And that,
This one wasn't quite as funny.
no, that was hilarious.
Yeah. This wasn't funny at all.
No.
Really.
No, and there was funny moments.
Yeah.
Where they kind of lightened it up a little bit. But, if you think about the formula for that, where on the one hand you could have something that was really serious and then some lighthearted moments. The flip side of that is Zombieland, where it's, there's no traffic,
Yeah.
right? You're driving kind of wherever you want.
Bill Murray is in it,
Bill Murray's great in that
Yeah.
movie, too.
playing himself.
He is.
Yep.
And so that's different, where it's funny and there's some moments of seriousness, right? And it's sort of, that's the 80-20 rule maybe, where it's like, oh, okay, this was 80% serious. I think this was more than that. But Zombieland was probably, the opposite. And it felt like that was sort of the flip side of this movie, I thought. Not at all the same, totally different stories, but just in feel. Anyway.
Yeah.
What else? What else can we cover without spoiling this shit
I
out of this
feel
movie?
like I'm kind of, I guess I just wanted to, the big point I
Start.
wanted to make introductorily was that,
It's a big word.
introductorily.
You owe me 50 cents later.
It is just that I felt just a little surprised, and I wouldn't say let down, but that it was being treated, and maybe that was just like hype, where they're trying to, the most provocative movie of the season, and it's
That's
going to
exactly
rile
what
your
it is.
feathers, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's a,
If you're a red state, you're going to hate this. If you're a blue state, you're going to hate that, which is, I think, how it was marketed, and that is honest to God genius.
it is.
Yeah.
Gosh, those people.
We should do that.
Yeah.
You are going to hate this podcast.
Everybody.
Every single
care.
one. We are
Yep.
super controversial.
You know who
Just
the-
wait until you listen.
You know who's
to
really
all
going
of
to
them.
hate us? The centrists.
Totally.
They're.
No.
I've never met a centrist
Screw them.
that I didn't hate.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be
Cowards.
on either side very far.
Cowards.
Mm.
And then you're a disgusting extremist.
Yeah.
Nobody's good.
No. Yeah, I agree.
all
I was
suck.
expecting
You
way
all
more fireworks
Yeah.
from this. From the controversy and everything else. And so good on them for leaning into what everybody's leaning into.
So this guy, the director's last movie was Ex Machina, which is gorgeous.
It is
wonderful,
gorgeous.
creepy.
We'll do another
as
one on that.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It is super creepy, and it disturbed me even like months after watching it. And I thought about it,
Maybe more relevant now.
and I more relevant now. And I
Yep.
feel like I was expecting that kind of energy here, and I got a pretty good action war movie
Yeah.
in a a kind of sci-fi fanciful world.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I got. And I thought it was good. I also thought there was some problems. I want to get into that during the storytelling problems, I'd
Okay.
say. Problems with character arcs and just plot. And I think those
Yeah.
are better for the spoiler
Yep.
part, because
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what we'll
yeah.
talk about. So how do we smoothly transition into
We don't.
Dazed and Confused?
That's what they,
I feel like we need to come up with a good way to. Did you?
Well,
hey,
I have a thought. How many days did it take them to get to DC? That was the goal. And
days.
It was a couple days.
Yeah, it was miles, is how they were.
Right, but it looked like less than a week.
It was a few days. Yeah.
Okay. This was a day.
Do you remember the year that Dazed and Confused first came out?
I'm going to say
Be
it
a
was
lot cooler if you
I
did.
really would. I think it was late 90s.
Yeah, it was. I just wanted to say that.
97?
I think it was earlier. I think it was more. No, way earlier.
Okay.
94, something like that. That's my guess.
Okay.
But
We'll
we'll
go
see.
with it. All right.
The
so
fans
we're
will write in
We're going
and
to switch over.
say,
Yeah, because we're not going to look it up.
no.
Nope. That's
That
not
would take
our
looking-
jam. You people.
That
know
would take looking it up.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had something to say. Just lost it.
Wow. You were hanging out with Slater from Dazed
Slater,
and Confused.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great
this
character.
this part is full of spoilers. If
Oh.
you've not seen Dazed and Confused, do yourself a favor.
Yeah, you got to see it.
It's
so,
really good.
Wait, I may have said this at the beginning, but I'm going to say it again. The reason why we wanted to jump on this when the chance came up is because we just a couple weeks ago recorded an episode
Yep.
on the underappreciated Richard Linklater's Everybody Wants Some, which is not a sequel to this, but a kind of like
Wait, this podcast is a prequel to that.
it is.
Holy shit.
But it
We are
already happened.
So cool.
It already happened.
did.
But
Yeah.
we're going to put it out right away. And
Or should we
so
put out the other one and this one at the same time
No.
on the YouTubes?
too much. Maybe we could do that. We could do whatever.
Yeah.
You make the YouTube
I do.
decisions, and you
I
got
call
all
it
that
Me
power.
Tube.
Me Tube.
Yeah.
That's good.
I've
wait,
been Me Tube.
somebody was saying that there was I swear I heard somewhere that it's called that a video podcast is called a vodcast. You're not
I don't
buying
like
that?
that.
But I know that a video blog is called a vlog.
I hate that too.
But if we get different drinks next time, this could be a vodka cast.
Yeah.
That was a lot of setup for not a very...
Vodcast.
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 Yeah.
That seems like a video on demand cast.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
And it worked a little. I mean, I think your judgment is a little harsh.
I know. I heard it before, though.
You did.
Yeah.
And you were waiting for it. You were wincing as it was rolling. Yeah.
We rarely talk about any of this stuff before we talk about it. And I mean...
And when we do, it's a mistake.
Yeah. It makes it even better.
So all I can say about Dazed and Confused, watching it in a big screen in a movie theater the day after 420, it was just delightful.
I can't believe how many people were in there.
Funny. Yeah, how so?
Well, I kind of thought we'd be the only ones here.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's a beautiful day out, and it isn't probably the best day to be indoors, or in a movie theater.
Yeah.
But I like that we've hit that age where this should be like a midnight show.
No, yeah.
But we see it at 12 noon on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's like...
It just wasn't going to happen any other way. Yeah.
So what did you think about Dazed and Confused on this watch, and what,
Yeah, so I didn't see it when it came out. I mean, I saw it a few years later. What I would
saw
say...
it in San Francisco.
Okay. So what year was that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It would have been probably 94 or something like that. But
okay.
Yeah.
I would say that there are terms that were used that I wrote down, one of them in particular, where I wondered how long it had been around and how widely the term was used. And the term that I wrote down was open season.
Okay.
So were you involved? You weren't. Maybe baseball, high school sports.
Yeah. No, I didn't play high school sports, but I played up until high school. I played baseball and football.
Were there, for lack of a better word, hazing rituals?
Not really.
Okay.
Okay, so we really cover in the Everybody Wants Some episode that Linklater in these two films is kind of like pro-bullying. Like a kind of, but there's an appropriate use of hazing / bullying that helps you kind of like puts you in your place, but also
understand the hierarchy, right?
You understand the hierarchy, but also once you've gone through it, you're part of the crew in a way, and it's a bonding thing. So we talk about that there, and so we probably won't talk about it as much today.
We won't,
even though it's a really big part of this movie.
The words "open season," though, did you ever hear that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
It sounds like I've heard it before, but why? Does this just seem
swimming
like...
for me? It was our.
It was open.
It was. Oh yeah, it was. We were told.
What did that mean?
If you guys if the freshmen continue to mouth off to the older kids, the coaches, we will declare it open season, and that meant hazing could start. And there was some that was already tolerated, and so when this comes up in Dazed and Confused, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, nobody would ever let that happen. I thought, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. They let that happen to us in the locker room.
Well, first off, this was Texas, Dazed and Confused. And, I think it's very permitted.
Yeah.
And
or at least it was?
It was. I don't think it is anymore.
Yeah.
That's why society is crumbling. That's why
I think so.
That's why we're on the verge of a civil war.
So because
we're
determined
not hazing quite
that we're
enough.
pro-hazing and / bullying, probably.
As long as you're not O'Banion.
No, O'Banion's fucker.
Yeah. And he gets punished because
Who is O'Banion?
First off, he does it 2 years in a row. For those who haven't seen the movie, you should go watch the movie.
Yeah, really, stop here.
Yeah. But O'Banion somehow flunks out of, he has to repeat 12th grade.
Yeah.
So he gets to do it twice. And all of the seniors chase all of the incoming freshmen with these paddles.
They've made in wood shop.
They made in wood shop, and then they just pound the hell out of their butts, and it's pretty brutal. But
Think
then
fraternity paddles for those of
Yeah.
you, and
yeah, and so they drive around and they catch these kids. But then once you got it as a freshman, then you're kind of in the club,
That's
and then
kinda
they leave you alone the rest of the time.
it also meant that you were cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was. And one of our main characters is he's the freshman who gets it real bad because his sister tells them to go easy on him.
go easy on him.
So they go
Yeah.
hard on him. And
My
they-
sister never did that for me with the swim team. She's like, "Oh, you didn't
No,
swim
get him.
Okay,
Yeah, you get him good.
yeah."
That
No,
was-
she didn't do that either.
Oh,
it was
just-
more like, "Oh, okay, you know those guys can be kind of mean, right?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Well,
You'll
they'll
find
figure
out.
it out." Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, yeah. And I should thank her for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a little story that I heard. This is in one of Bill Simmons' podcasts.
Bill Simmons
so
is
I'm
great.
just stealing it straight
Man.
from him. But
Wait, Bill Simmons, who used to be on ESPN,
yeah,
he's fantastic.
he does movies and sports, and he's like a podcaster
He's great.
guy. Yeah, but he and his buddies talked about Dazed and Confused, and I guess the inside scoop on the actor that plays Mitch, who's the little kid.
The kid, yeah.
So I don't know if you noticed. First off, when he auditioned, he assured Linklater that he was totally a good baseball player.
He was not good.
No, he couldn't throw.
No.
Couldn't do anything. And
Yeah.
he also, maybe the jury's out on this, or maybe there's differences of opinions, but he seems like an absolutely terrible actor. Like, out of everybody in that movie, it was kind of hard to watch him.
So I would I'm going to go ahead and propose. What was the next movie he did? Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There.
He may have been in a television show or something. Was he in some kind of television show? I swear I saw some kid that looked like him, but
So there's
no,
a kid
we
that looked
don't.
like him, and I know the show, and no, it was not him.
it wasn't him.
No,
So that was the end of it, beginning and the end of his
I
career.
think so.
Meanwhile, Matthew McConaughey.
Because the kid that
We
looked
have
like
heard of
him,
him.
was Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
Yeah.
and you know him.
Yeah.
And it was Third Rock from the Sun.
Okay.
And
This is not
It's
that
not
guy.
him.
Okay.
no, he's the guy you get when you can't get Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a child with,
Long
like
hair.
really long hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was awkward. Here's the one way you can sell that he works as an actor, because if you're that age and you're hanging out with older kids,
Yeah.
you're going to be so self-conscious
Yeah.
that it looks like you're a bad actor.
And
But I
he
also
is.
think he was a bad
Yeah,
actor.
kinda.
And he couldn't throw a baseball, so they had to
Oh man,
cut.
it was not good.
Yeah. But the character was great.
The character was
And
great.
he strikes out the guy at the end of his Little League game
Oh, wait.
while the bad guys are
There's
waiting
going to be
for him.
spoilers here. I mean, it's, yeah,
The movie is 20 years old, so
the 30,
is it 20? Is it 30?
30, maybe
Yeah,
30.
it's gotta be
God,
30, yeah.
world.
Yeah, that's right. So, anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting. That whereas when you jump ahead to Everybody Wants Some, every single player, every single actor on the baseball team, college baseball, those guys could throw the baseball. They could catch
they
the
were
baseball.
good.
They could hit it.
Yeah.
And
Well, they were athletes. He didn't look real athletic to me.
No, he
looked
didn't.
like me as a kid, except taller.
Yeah.
So-
He was a good-looking kid, Steve. I
Yeah,
guess
well-
I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Just be as nice as I can.
Can I completely shift gears?
Yes.
You'll like that segue.
Yeah, because cars, right?
Fuck yes, it is.
Nice cars.
Yeah. There was a lot of really good cars in this.
There's this whole scene where Matthew McConaughey's character is talking about cars to this other guy, the guy that was the bully that got in the fight with whatever the other character, and it was just like posi traction and all this jargon. Did any of that make any sense
well,
at all?
Posi traction makes sense, and like some of the other stuff. To me, I'm not that into their old stuff. Like I sort of modern fun, I guess, and modern going back to, let's say, 1990 something. So when you go back further than that, my eyes kind of gloss over. I don't have any idea what they're talking about. But I did spot an amazing GTO that they're driving. It's a GTO Judge, which is even cooler than a regular GTO, which is like a hotted up Pontiac Tempest. So I do know some stuff.
Yeah.
And today I looked it up while we were watching the movie. I do suck. That car is like $110,000 to $120,000 car.
Sure.
There was a Gremlin, and it was
Nice.
sort of just there's just in the background. Now there was also a Gremlin in Everybody Wants Some. So maybe Linklater's got a
Probably the same car.
no, they're different.
Oh, okay.
Different color because the girls were unloading it in the other one.
Yeah.
And in this one, it was just like in the background. I'm like, holy shit, there's a Gremlin.
I'm going to drop a preview. Not going to say anything about it.
Okay.
My green Gremlin has lots of torque.
Yes, because this is a prequel. Wait,
It's a prequel to.
but the other one's coming out first, and then
No, this one's coming up first.
Oh, good.
So we're going to drop this as soon as we record it,
God.
so we can stay.
Otherwise, it makes a really shitty prequel.
Yeah, if it comes after,
Right.
defeats the whole purpose, right?
It's true.
So
There's more.
What
I
about
got a list.
Yeah, keep going.
All right. There's an El Camino.
Oh,
What do you think of the El Camino?
I like. Oh yeah, it's cool.
I mean, there was
It's a truck and it's a car. It's like everything.
huge in
Everything-
Australia. They
Yeah.
call them utes.
Yeah.
Because and the idea was that it was basically something that you could use on the farm, and then on Sunday there's an expression, there's a saying that they had with it, you could take the family to church.
You know what it is?
I don't.
It's the mullet of cars. Party in the back, business in front. Except it's the
I think you
opposite.
had it the other way around.
Yeah, but with the
yeah.
mullet, it's yeah.
Well,
And it looks
I
a little
guess
bit
it's
like a
party in the
mullet
front.
if you think about
yeah.
it.
It does.
Yeah.
They made super sport versions of those. So the super sports were always kind of like a hotted up. They put a bigger engine. They did, so it took me a while to appreciate the El Camino, but I'm a fan.
My friend Brett, who
Nice.
lives in London, and we went to college together in San Francisco, and I'll give San Francisco a ding.
Wow.
I mention it a lot. It's my cred, I lived in that city. You ever heard of it?
I've been there.
Oh, it's a big city.
Yeah, I have been there.
It's
a few
famous.
times. Yeah,
I used to live there.
I like
Want me
it.
to tell you where I lived?
Yeah.
Okay. I lived on Haight Street for a while above the Pork Store Cafe.
Haters gonna hate.
Haters will hate, but it's just because they're jealous.
Above the what?
Pork Store Cafe.
We're ding heavy now.
Yeah.
We had almost no dings until now.
It's just kind of.
It's how it
It's
goes.
like mining. Just
It
you're
is.
just like kind of
Yeah, all of a
digging,
sudden,
digging. Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang,
Yeah.
bang. All right.
It's called a vein.
All
Hit a
right.
vein.
We're in a ding vein.
Where? Yeah. So what was I gonna say though? Oh, about Brett. We did an open mic poetry thing, or participated, and we're just undergrad college students who
Okay.
want to be writers.
Did
And
you rhyme a lot?
No,
Oh.
we were
In
we
your
had-
poetry, I mean.
We had taken a creative writing class where you learn that rhyming poetry is dorky. So we already knew that. And so we went to this open mic night, and Brett read a poem called The Evil El Camino, and he described it as looking like a bat skull or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
And yeah.
It probably does, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. It was a good
Yeah.
poem. And so anyway,
All right.
I know the El Camino very well.
I like it.
How about the Subaru Brat? That's like a El
Oh.
Camino in a way.
It was a
Right?
4-wheel drive El Camino.
Yeah, but little.
Yeah.
And the original one had those two seats in the back.
Yeah, they were avoiding some tax with that.
Really?
Yeah, those were port installed. Otherwise, that was a pickup truck that was not built in the country. And so I believe it would be the chicken tax. You can email us at theguys@themoonunderwaterpubcast.com if there's a different story there, because we're not going to look it up.
Nope, we don't do that.
No, we're not doing it. I'm not doing it right now.
Too
I'm
much
not going to get the
extra-
phone out. Nope. We already did plenty of work for this. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
So, okay. There was also a Volkswagen Thing in
in
this movie.
I missed it. I love the thing.
It was
you see a lot of them in California. Or
Still?
I did. No, probably not
No.
now, but they were making them in Mexico in the Volkswagen factory
Beetle,
there.
too. They made
Yeah,
Beetles up through 2000 something.
Yeah. Yep. And you could actually go down there and buy a car. I don't know how getting it back up into the States. I bet you there was like a tax thing or something. But
Probably.
like $5,000 for a brand new Beetle off the line, you know?
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a Chevelle Super Sport.
Okay.
So I've got a friend of mine, Captain Bateman, my pilot buddy, has a Chevelle, and there is one Super Sport badge on it. And the reason why is that it's not really a Super Sport. He found one. It was a barn find. There was enough of it left that could be restored, that he had it restored and had some absolutely monster V8, Chevy V8 put under the hood. But upgraded, he did sort of what's called the Resto mod. So upgrade everything as you go along. but
Resto
make
mod?
Yeah, so you make it look original.
Sounds like a made-up thing.
It's totally not.
Somebody made it up.
Well, somebody did.
Yeah.
And
Good
they
on them.
are.
Yeah.
They probably have a lot of money now. It's got disc brakes, all the way around. It's got these big, beautiful wheels that look like they would have been factory, but they're like 17s instead of 14s with drum brakes underneath them, and it is the nastiest sounding car, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. Nasty bad or nasty good? Like
Nasty badass.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Miss Jackson if you're nasty.
That's right.
Okay.
That kind.
Yep.
And so I saw the Chevelle Super Sport, and I even put an exclamation point in my notes.
All right.
Yeah. Gratuitous use
You
of
were-
exclamation points
you were
usually in my
excited.
notes. Yeah. What else? I have a question mark next to one, and I don't think it was this, but I couldn't tell because my knowledge of cars from the 60s and 70s isn't that good. I thought there was an AMC AMX. So
All right.
that
I don't know
Remember
what that is.
AMC?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, they own Jeep at the end of their.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, then they got bought by Chrysler in
Yeah.
86, 87.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
yeah, they bought them for Jeep, and then remember Eagle?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jeep Eagle.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they had a muscle car in the 70s called the. There was a couple. It was the AMC AMX, and there was the AMC Javelin. What a name for a
is a
muscle
great-
car!
Yeah.
Oh wow. So I don't think it was that. I did cheat. Well, when we're in the theater, I do not mind using my phone to look shit up.
I know. I saw you
Yeah.
were like distracting everybody in the theater.
I
with
was.
your bright lights. Yeah.
I completely ignored the warning to not do these things.
Yeah. But it was
and
for
I
work.
did it. It was. And I believe it was a Plymouth Fury. That it was Ben Affleck's car. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
So-
cool looking.
It was, but his was like primered.
Yeah.
like
which is badass.
It
in
is
a way,
badass,
yeah.
but it was like a shitty. It
Yeah.
was like, oh, this car is
Yeah.
5 years old and in the 70s. That was enough to need paint.
So there was a guy that we saw twice in this movie, just an extra, who rode a motorcycle, and he had the that skull face jacket that was from the Misfits. There was a name of that little monster. There was a
Yeah.
logo kind of thing, and that must have been really pre-punk or early punk. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
the
just
Misfits
noticed
would have
him.
been. Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe the Misfits. Yeah, maybe the
That would've been
image
really
is
early.
before the Misfits, but from 1976 is anyway.
I always
I
thought
like that guy.
I guess I always thought this movie was California until I looked at the license plates on the
Oh
cars.
man, it's all Texas.
So I have
We
a,
didn't have like paddlings and stuff or people caring about football in California. It's surfing and stuff like that.
Tom Brady's from San Mateo.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big state.
Yeah.
There are football teams,
Yeah.
but it's not. This to me is very Texas, and it didn't.
Okay,
Although
didn't resonate.
all the pot smoking, the vibes, the going out to the moon tower, just the kegs out. We would party out in the desert. Totally.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We would go out to places where everybody rode their off-road vehicles and their motorcycles, their
Oh,
dirt
yeah.
bikes, and we would just meet out there. We just called it the Canyon,
And
May as well give it a
Nice.
ding. And there was a bunch of different places. There was the trestle. It was a train trestle that we would party on,
Like
and
right
then we
there.
would climb. Yeah, it was like that. But we'd climb up on it and drink.
Seemed like
and
a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good idea. It was, and on and on. It was a lot. My high school experience was a lot like this, even
Was
though
it?
oh yeah, it was quite
What
a.
year?
85 is when I
Okay.
graduated, and yeah, it was the same kind of partying, the same kind of characters, and yeah, it was great. I loved it, and I love that this movie doesn't make apologies, and it's not about.
None.
It's looking back with very rosy glasses, but it also was, yeah. I mean, it reminds us that we should. There was a weird part when Randall Pink Floyd at the end was saying, "If anybody tells me these are the best years of my life, I might as well kill myself." And yet, the whole time you watch him having the best time ever. He's smiling all the time.
He's not
He's got
realizing it.
multiple girls that are after him.
Yeah.
He's on the football team, but
Yeah.
everybody loves him in every different friend group. And he's probably peaking
Yeah.
in his life right there, and he's not getting it, which I think is a
doesn't get
little
it.
bit of a darkness in plus they all, a civil war is coming and they don't realize
Right.
it.
They
So,
don't.
yeah.
But I'm not ready to go there yet.
No, I wasn't trying to transition.
Okay, good.
Just, yeah.
Because there was when I was in college, there was movie night at a particular bar in Iowa City, and I'm going to give it a ding because it no longer exists. The bar was Martini's.
Oh, I went too fast.
you
I'll
did.
do another
You
one.
jumped the gun on the ding. Did you
You
get
know what?
her attention?
No, I didn't. Are
Shoot.
we allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I said we're going to give you the high sign when we're.
All right.
Should we just hold our beers up and be like, hello?
Maybe we should just scream.
You want to run up there while I.
Can you talk
Oh.
while I go up there?
Oh my God, this is terrifying.
Can you
It's
do
all by
it?
myself.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be.
I'll talk to you people
out
there.
Myself. Yeah, just sing that song,
I will.
and I'll be right back.
All right, cool. Yeah, so there was a bar in Iowa City called Martini's, and those of you that went to Martini's back in the day, it was a great place if you were 21, and to get in when you were younger than 21 was a huge deal. And what they used to do on Monday nights in the fall of 1998, and maybe a little bit longer, was they would show a movie. And that movie would drive what the drink deals were that night. So in the case of, let's say, The Big Lebowski, you might be able to guess that it was White Russians. They showed a Bond movie. Of course, then there was Martinis that were the drink specials because that's what they had in the movie. And so they did one evening and one Monday night show, Dazed and Confused, and it was getting to see that movie out in public, and I want to say it was the first time that I ever saw it. It was sort of a surreal experience. You're watching this movie in a bar, maybe a couple of beers in. I was probably 18, but it was something that I'll never forget, and I certainly will associate that with this movie every single time after I've seen it. And today, thought a lot about it as we're sitting here in the Last Picture House upstairs. Highly recommend the balcony, and watching what amounts to a movie that still deals a lot with beer. And thank God Kelly's back. And he hasn't heard the story, so he's going to have to listen.
I'm sure it was.
And I think that wraps up what we can talk about on
was
Dazed and Confused.
scintillating. Yeah.
It was. I do have one other comment on Dazed and
All right,
Confused.
let's do it.
They have covered the freshman girls in the ketchup and mustard and flour and oatmeal and whatever else.
Eggs.
And then they take them through the car wash in a truck.
Yeah.
With they make it look like there's high pressure hoses. Can I show you what I've done to myself?
Yeah.
Gonna show,
I want to see.
It's going to show the people out here on the YouTubes. They're right there. Okay, it's a Nike shaped scar. Looks like a Nike swoosh.
So the car wash would damage you?
I mean, it wasn't that close, but it would hurt like hell.
Oh, okay.
This was point blank range on an at home power washer.
Yeah, I'm sure.
When I made a boneheaded move of putting my thumb in the front of it,
Right.
and I watched that. I was like, "Oh, okay."
You're not buying it?
I'm not
I think
buying
people
it.
go in there. I've seen YouTube clips of people going through car washes.
Still skeptical.
Okay. If they don't want to take the paint off the car. Okay, you're skeptical. There was one other thing, and we don't have to go into it or go song by song, but I love the music.
Oh,
I love,
yeah.
I love the music, and everybody wants some 80s music, and then this is 70s music, and just song after song. When Alice Cooper starts showing up when they're about to go and get Mitch, the baseball kid, and they're about to beat him, but then once they beat him, he gets to join the crew, and he goes out drinking all night, and he meets a girl, and everything works out great for him.
I thought it was all summer they weren't really part of the crew, and it was like, but that's not the case.
Well, for him, because he got it so bad, and because his sister has already paved the way, and then because Randall Pink Floyd took him under his wing, so he's...
Jeremy London, by the way.
Yeah, he's good.
The actor's name, yeah. He was in the news recently. I only found this because I was Googling his name.
What was it?
Well, I don't know if it was recently.
What did he do?
He was
gerbil,
allegedly kidnapped.
What?
And beaten and forced to take drugs.
What? Is this some kind of...
I mean, not allegedly.
Okay.
Yeah, that showed up.
I don't get it.
I'm going to need to go look some more. Somebody made him take drugs. He wasn't supposed to take drugs.
Very mysterious.
Yeah. I hate it when that happens.
When people force me to take drugs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, happy 420. And
on 421.
Yeah.
And
still.
And now it's spoiler time? Is that what we're saying?
I think so. Oh, wait. The Alice Cooper song.
Oh,
a
couple of them.
Used to be such a sweet, sweet thing till they got a hold of me. And the School's Out.
Yeah.
Like naming a song, School is Out for Summer, School's Out Forever.
Yeah.
That's a good way to get your song played for many, many, many years to come. And that was smart of Alice Cooper. And so let's go to Spoiler Land and back to...
On that.
We go from utopia or a semi-utopia.
It was great.
To a...
Unless you're a freshman.
Dystopia. Yeah, but even then, you get a little whacked and then you're right in.
And you're in.
You're up and out.
But not all of them did.
No, some of them are still
waiting.
waiting.
Cool ones, though,
yeah.
I thought.
Almost not getting whacked is almost worse than getting whacked because they don't even notice you.
Right.
You're not even
on their radar.
Yeah. And that was how it was with the girls, is that they were choosing the girls to go through the hazing thing, and then they chose the one.
Okay.
And
and her friends were a little unimpressed.
Well, her friends weren't chosen.
Right, but they were unimpressed that she chose to
maybe not
participate.
Yeah, that's true.
I noticed that.
So
all right.
Now we're in Civil War, and what? I don't know.
Let's start on the road trip. Let's go with where we're starting.
Okay.
So the starting point is New York. There is the group that decides to go. They want to go to D.C. where journalists are being executed on the South Lawn.
Yeah.
Very serious. And they want to go to D.C. to go talk to the president. That's the goal.
Well, but
the president who's now staying for his third term.
Yeah, okay. and the president that also
Who was Nick Offerman, by the way.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Totally unused.
Yeah,
except for about
he could have been anybody.
90 seconds. Yeah,
he could have been anybody really playing that role. Just sort of a guy that wears a suit, and he.
What do you suppose they had him for one day total on the set?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But he also. The president at the beginning says something. This is one of those breadcrumbs. He goes, well, the Western Front just suffered a great defeat.
Yeah.
And it was the greatest defeat in the history of humankind. I'm like, okay.
But the
delivery is different.
The delivery is way different.
Way different.
And it was in this case, I'm going to actually defend the writer and director.
All right.
Because some people are going to go, oh, that's what Donald Trump would say. And I watched it and I went...
who?
Exactly. No, yeah. And I watched it and I went, No, he wouldn't, because it would have been on an off-the-cuff remark and never practiced.
Yeah.
Ever.
You're right.
And so I watched it. I was like,
Yeah,
it's a bit of a wink and a nod, but not. I mean,
It wasn't him.
Come on,
It didn't seem
was
like
not
him, and it wasn't. But it was a president who is compared to Mussolini and Gaddafi. Or
Yep.
Gaddafi. And
I think they even went with like
Saddam.
Stalin,
Yeah.
Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
They were all over the political map, and
Yeah.
that's what made it
yeah, they didn't want to make it
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
like one side or the other.
Yep.
It was a guy that everybody turned against, essentially, and somehow
Except for the Secret Service.
those poor saps.
Those poor fuckers.
Yeah. And they didn't even have the body armor that everybody else has. They
No,
do have
no.
like Uzis, but hey, man.
Yeah.
And then the press secretary just gets it.
Oh wait, we're way far ahead though.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's back up to the road trip.
Road trip.
They start out. They have a Ford Excursion. I'm the car guy, right?
All right.
And
It seemed like a serviceable vehicle.
they're cool.
White with black letters that said
Yeah.
press on the side.
And the Excursion was cool because it was the heavy duty Ford trucks, and they slapped a body on the back of it to make it into an SUV. It was like, okay, we have made.
So that seems like a good vehicle for that. It was tough and
Except that they get 10 miles to the gallon, and gas is going to be hard to get between
yeah.
New York and D.C. And I was like,
Yeah.
would that really be? Would you
No.
really choose that one?
yeah, especially in the future.
Yeah, well,
You would have like a
the near future too,
Yeah.
and they stopped making those 15 years ago.
okay.
Yeah, that's
Odd.
not anywhere near new,
Kind of a weird choice then.
but they're
So you can't get
They're
gas
almost
by the way.
bulletproof.
Right. Yeah. Okay. But they
Almost.
also can't. You can't get gas because local gas stations are controlled by militia, and they're only letting gas if you're kind of on the right team, or you have
Right.
to pay these like exorbitant black market prices, and you have to
In
pay
Canadian.
in Canadian
Yeah.
because the U.S. dollar is worthless apparently in this world.
for $300 US, you could get yourself a ham sandwich, which
That's
is
what
what
he
was
said.
suggested.
Again, that was a point where I'm like, hey, I'm no over enthusiastic flag waver, but I don't know,
Not
man.
buying that.
A lot of things need
Yeah.
to change for the U.S. dollar to be useless.
If everybody else, if there were places in the country that were still pretending like nothing had happened, I was like, then
about the one
somebody
pla-
still values.
So
it
they
that way.
they find this little town that's perfect. It's untouched by the war. And then they go in and there's a clothing store and they go
yeah.
in. This is a flaw in the movie, I think. I just don't think the world was fully realized. Where the fuck are they getting their supply chain? Who is buying these dresses? How is the economy working in a place like this?
Nobody lived through 2020 and 2021.
Yeah,
and
you wouldn't have.
yeah.
There would be runs on
right.
essentials, and your
thought that.
fancy stuff would become useless. And I just didn't buy that there could be. It was more like just so it's this road trip with every few miles. There's a new little, almost like Alice in Wonderland sort of scene of weirdness, which I liked, but it interacted with reality in a way that it wasn't different enough from reality to feel like Alice in Wonderland or the Planet of the Apes, but it wasn't like reality enough for me to think this is actually like reality. And I felt like I was in
Yeah.
that uncanny valley between the two. To me, it didn't quite work. I was engaged because it was exciting.
It was exciting.
And yeah,
The sound for me,
Huh.
and I'm a big sound guy.
interesting.
Well, the sound for me was absolutely. The sound mix was beautiful.
Wow.
It's a movie that if you have the chance to see it in a theater, I've got a great sound system at home. It will not sound anything like what they have here or what they have at the at bigger theaters today, where these are sound systems that in each theater are probably $100,000 or more.
They sound amazing, and
Yeah.
they do that thing where they show off the sound at the beginning.
Yes.
It's like a little commercial for it,
I
and
have
then
it in my notes.
they do the part where you can hear it from the left,
Yeah.
and the center, and the front, and the side, and the right, and it
So
is impressive.
the one where we saw, because we did not see that movie here. There was we didn't see Civil War here. We saw Dazed and Confused here. The Civil War opening where we saw it had sort of sounded like static coming from the different channels.
Yeah.
It was going bum 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 bum, and it would go front to back and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That, if you know what you're listening to,
Yeah.
is a there's equipment that you use when you set up a receiver so that it knows the distance of the speakers to make the sound the best for where those microphones are set up. And my guess is that they have automated that so that they calibrate the sound before every movie,
Wow.
which is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
And so that I was listening to that and I wrote it down. I wrote it down yesterday.
Hey, long live theater. Like I
Love that.
You know, I think I like watching movies at home. And we can set up our home theaters pretty well. And even it's not even crazy expensive nowadays. I mean, I guess it can
be.
It can be, but you can get a good system for.
I'll tell you I'll tell you when we're not recording.
All right.
What I've spent.
Well, you know, it gives you pleasure. It sparks joy in you. But going to the movie
when I
theater,
didn't
man.
work right next to it.
What's that?
It used to when I didn't work, and my office is right next to the home theater.
Yeah. You should do your Zoom calls on the home theater.
I used to.
Really?
Yeah, in my old house.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
just
the
sad,
sound
though.
for me is
Okay.
so amazing.
The sound is great.
Oh, and can I?
Yeah.
You were saying something. Okay. The sound in the movie they play with silence, like really loud sounds, and then they'll play with they played with the idea of really loud sounds and gunfire and everything else, and they take a picture, bang, couple seconds of silence, and they show you the picture.
Yeah.
And then they
It's-
start back up again, and bang.
It has an art house film
Yes.
quality to it for sure. And
Oh.
so you notice the sound a lot. I noticed just the visual.
Yep.
Just shots that are just like paintings or compositions. There's a lot of like really dire looking shots that are next to beautiful flowers and things like that. And then it goes with a slightly surreal feel that I loved a lot. When they go into Christmas Land,
That's great.
was wonderful.
It reminded me of Zombieland.
It was, but it was not as funny. It was kind of funny.
It was.
So they just drive into this Christmas Land setup
On the way to DC. So
on
we're
the
almost
way,
to DC.
and it's obviously people didn't take down the Christmas decorations since Christmas,
Right.
and maybe many Christmases.
My wife would do that if I let her.
Oh,
I'd rather not put up the Christmas decorations to
Yeah.
begin with. So
Yeah.
yeah.
that same here.
Yeah.
But
Bah humbug.
yeah, I get less interested in it every year. Put it that way. But you go in and it just looks weird, but it's desolate and creepy, and there's just a dead body of a guy in a soldier uniform. The soldiers, the difference between the one side and the other is almost impossible to tell. There's this one group that has like Hawaiian shirts and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that.
Which
That's
is-
a little bit of a nod, right?
Isn't that a Proud Boy
It is.
thing? Yeah.
But there was only two guys.
There's two guys, and we like them because they're with our.
They're
They-
with our they're
they're-
helping the
Yeah.
right, and so they take
Little
to use the
bits.
word disarm is not the right word because they don't disarm them, but they take away that political bullet, I guess I'm going to say,
Yeah.
from the movie, and I thought I was like it's a nod, but then they go nope,
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good move.
Yeah.
I mean, to not make it any particular
to make them seem
group is,
also like
it would
they're
be
normal
really.
guys.
I think it would have been a terrible idea to make it, you know, the forces of California and blue states defeat Donald Trump and then execute him. Well, I jumped to the big
Well, you did.
spoiler, but
that's not what it is.
That would
at
have been
all.
a really baffling thing to do for a film, and they didn't do that.
And they didn't do it, and there's people that are saying they did,
but
and they fucking
almost
didn't
do it. They flirt with it, don't you?
I don't think
you don't
so.
believe they even flirt
No.
with it?
I think they tread on it a little, to get the reaction that they've gotten, and to get people to go
just
and see
enough.
it. And that I
But then
think
you
it's worth
watch it, and
seeing.
you're like, yeah.
I think it's worth seeing,
Yeah.
and that good for them for understanding how to play the game a little.
Sure.
I mean,
All right. I'm for
yeah,
it.
I'm.
So I love that scene. And it's a sniper who's shooting from this
the
big
Christmas land. Yeah.
from this big mansion, and he hits their car. Doesn't hit them, even though he's a really good shot.
Yeah.
And there's two snipers that are friendly to the press.
There's a sniper and a spotter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those two guys are just, they're great characters. They're
were
barely
great.
there, and it's a great moment. And this one guy's like, "We're with the press." He goes, "Yeah, you keep saying that. I would never have guessed when you drove up in a car that says press on the door."
It was really funny.
And he's just sitting there watching, and these two guys are so chill. And then
Joe.
Well, Joe is talking, but I was just thinking that the guy who's the spotter is doing most of the talking.
He does all the talking.
And then the guy that's the shooter is like, "Can you guys shut the fuck up?"
Yeah. Well, do you remember what he says? He's like, "Oh, there's a guy over there. He's, blah blah blah." And this Joe's saying all this stuff, and the guy's like, "Jesus Christ! Like, yeah, you don't think I understand what's going on here?" He goes. And he looks at Jessie, the girl. I mean, she says she's 23.
She looks 16.
She looks 16. And he goes, what's happening here? And she goes, "There's a guy in that house that's trying to shoot us."
Yeah.
And he goes, "God, exactly. And we're trying to kill him."
Yeah.
There's somebody in that house is trying to kill us. And that's, she stops with that. He goes, "Exactly. And we're trying to kill him." Here, I thought it was complicated. Basically, is what and it was funny.
It was funny, but
Yeah.
there was also, I think, the same idea, but I think it was delivered in a more kind of like soundbitey way, where somebody's like, who's giving you orders or something.
Oh yeah.
I think Joe asked that.
That's
He's
what
like,
it was.
"Nobody's giving us orders."
That's what it was.
He goes,
"That guy's trying to kill us.
"Yeah,
we're trying to kill him.
and we're trying to kill him."
Yeah,
And he said it in like a really cool, like ice cold way.
yeah.
And then they pull the trigger. The shooter pulls the trigger, and there's a long pause, and he goes, "I got some good news."
And that's where they cut.
And they click to the next scene. It was great.
Yeah. And that next scene gets a little trippy. That next scene, so that we go from funny
Yeah.
to, and funny, I mean, somebody dies, but we don't see it. And it's actually, we end up with, I think, the sort of the moral of the movie, which is
War is hell.
war is hell, but that it's also
Kind of fun.
There's a guy that's a psychopath that is played by Jesse
Yeah.
Plemons, who is
Yeah.
fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And incidentally wearing rose-colored glasses.
Yeah. Every trailer has that scene, and it is one of the most intense, and he's one of the more memorable characters.
And he's
Doesn't
in it
last
for
that long.
5 minutes.
Yeah. And he may be on the side that should be on the press's side, but he and his group are
They're psychopaths.
they're psychopaths, and they're just massacring citizens. It sounds like, and
Yeah.
it seems like it's a race-based thing,
Probably.
or
Yeah.
they don't get too much into it.
They
But it's
don't.
just there's this, once this stuff starts happening, murder is no longer a crime.
No,
and
yeah.
he just kills people, and
Can I just say that I immediately thought of the Balkans when I saw it.
Okay.
Because
you can say that.
That's the what, and I just did.
You did. I like that you asked permission first, though.
Yeah. Well, I had to.
You're nice.
Well,
Polite.
Yes, I'll go with polite.
Standing on ceremony.
Yeah, that too.
All right.
All of the
Balkans.
2 of those 3, it's true. It felt like, he was probably an average guy that maybe was a little squirrely.
And then he had a chance.
And then he had a chance. And that to me is, you look at like what happened with Kosovo, with, and what happened in the Balkans in general. And all of a sudden you have mass graves where, guess what? There is mass graves in Kosovo, in these places in where everybody had to kind of be separated. And I thought, yeah, that's how that happens, right? Like,
oh yeah,
a psychopath and an opportunity and people that they don't like, and lines drawn down, whatever. Fuck, that's not that far off. And that was the part that felt like this could happen anywhere. Not saying that this is going to happen here because of these people, but that because of people that we don't like when we made this movie or whatever. Because there's none of that, honestly. But that it was look, this could happen.
The
anywhere.
psychos come out.
Yes.
Well,
that's what I thought was the moral of the story, right?
Yeah.
Was that look, this is how this happens. You want to know how it unfolds? It's just like this.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably how it happened in those places.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think that was one of the messages. So that was a terrifying scene and fun to watch. And then and they escape it in a way that I was willing to go with.
I like that you said escape and not escape. I appreciate
Escape.
that. Yeah.
Would you like an espresso
No,
after your beer
just
here?
Really trying to get, I would not.
But
Especially no.
No. Okay.
Especially.
Escape. So
Sorry.
they're about to get killed by this guy, or at least, and a couple of them are, and they're killed because they're Asian, and the guys they're sort of race-based murder. And then the one character who's the old guy, who has been kind of just like an old mentor, and he just like barrels down with the SUV and
he didn't go with everybody else.
He runs those fuckers over.
Yeah,
and
that's when the excursion comes in handy.
Yeah,
yeah.
That was a really satisfying.
It was
smasheroo.
So
didn't seem like it would likely happen.
I've gotten worse with movies though.
How so?
In that I'm
You're
like,
not
okay,
buying
well
it
that's
kind of thing.
No. In that I'm like, okay, he's not going to go try to save the people that were kidnapped by the psychopath. That's going to come in handy. And I can't drop it from my head. When's he coming back? When's he coming back? When? And they hit you with all this drama. And
it was a little bit
getting shot and fucking.
It was clumsy storytelling. I mean, it was ham-fisted, kind of like.
I think it's normal storytelling.
What?
I think it's normal.
It is, but just not elegant.
Oh, but I mean, normal story. Oh, well, man, maybe this is another.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean,
but you're saying that it doesn't.
No, I felt like
you don't buy it.
No, not that I don't buy it.
Oh.
It's just that in my head, I'm always remembering that there's somebody else that's out there, and what they're trying to do is hit you with all of these dramatic things that
make you forget that
Yeah.
he's still waiting there to save them.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
I did
that's
not
what I
forget.
mean by it is normal storytelling, but it's also kind of lazy and clumsy. I would say it's not
Why?
because
it's 5 minutes ago.
Because it's normal.
Okay.
It's what everybody does.
Yeah.
It's what every sophisticated listener or watcher of a movie knows is going to happen.
It would have been better if it was like 30 minutes before. Hey, look, I'm not going to be with you guys.
Or they talk their way out of it, or something.
Yeah.
You want it to feel real and plausible.
Yeah.
And then on second thought, after it, totally surprising, but then also feels inevitable.
So you're saying you could write a better. Yes.
Yes, that's
All
my.
right.
No, I do. I'm gonna say some more things about the script. I think it was a. a really like filmed an A filmed film and
Yeah.
sound and all that with like
The
a B
story-
minus
okay.
script.
All right.
It wasn't that great. It was like there was some really sloppy or just kind of not thought out kind of or they probably did the best they could and it just didn't come together. And sometimes that happens.
My thought on it was from the way it was shot in terms of like the visuals and everything else was beautiful. The sound was spectacular, and the special effects, I guess.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
There were certain things that I went, okay, well this doesn't make sense. Should we get into that?
Well, we're just
It was
on
more
this,
towards the end. I felt like the end fell apart.
I suspect that a lot of people will be disappointed by the end.
Okay, well, let's get to that.
Maybe not, but
That
wait,
for me was where it fell apart.
I'm just wondering. So we didn't say anything about the part. Well, yeah, there's two things I want to talk about. It's just the end,
Okay.
but it relates to character arcs, and this is my problem with the script. And character arc is essentially you have a physical plot. Bunch of journalists go to D.C. during Civil War, and then they want to film. They want to somehow get footage of what happens at the very end of this war. That's the plot. Character arc is supposed to happen within the plot, and that is characters change. They start off one way, and they end off another. And there were two character arcs.
Yep.
There were three main characters. One of them didn't change at all, which is fine.
That was Joe.
Joe is the same.
Doesn't change. All right.
He's just this guy who feels all the feels, gets upset when things go bad, but he's super stoked when he's in the thick
shit's
of it.
cool. Yeah.
He's a junkie.
I think that's okay.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
But then the two women,
You
the
have
young
Lee
woman and the
you have
old
Jesse.
There's the
Lee's the old one.
and they both switch places.
They do.
To me, it happened too fast, too easily, and it was too neat, and I just didn't buy it. To the degree to which the hardened veteran becomes a naive softie, and then the girl who's having a panic attack all of a sudden is the most like
Dialed in.
but also heartless. Like it was a little too much. I thought it was ham-fisted. I didn't believe it. Here's the other thing.
Can I tell you what I wrote down about Jessie at the beginning?
Yeah.
I don't trust her.
No. Okay.
And that I felt.
Oh yeah, because you have the new the ingenue is going to come in and
Yeah, I was like, well, what the fuck is she doing here? Hold on a minute. Like
Yeah,
she's
she
going to
wasn't
screw
invited.
this up, and I was right.
yeah.
She wasn't invited. She did screw it up, and so
She did and didn't.
She ends up getting
Yeah.
Lee killed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was
But
like
but I liked something about the story there.
all right.
There was a reference earlier in the film to you got to make sure you have Kevlar. I was like, well, Kevlar on against anything other than like a .22 caliber.
Yeah.
You're not getting a whole lot of joy out of that. Like that's going to be
Right. It'll
that's
just go
gonna
through
kill
it.
you.
Yeah.
And then our esteemed Lee is saving Jesse in the White House and falls over dead, and I'm like, okay, it's a movie. She's getting up, and they're going to act like Kevlar is going to save you from an assault rifle.
No, it was a martyr scene.
It was, but I was expecting that when it happened, I was like, okay, after the president is getting what's coming, then they're going to go back to her, and she's going to be coughing like, oh, ow, I just broke some ribs in my back. It was terrible.
I didn't think that,
Okay.
but no, she seemed. It felt like the filmmakers wanted to make her into a martyr, and they did. And so Jessie jumps right into the line of fire to get the shot, and she's doing this now. Like she goes from just terrified panic attack to now she's just jumping front of the and the
after about 2
days.
Total, 2 days and 2 maybe interactions.
Yeah,
where,
and she goes into this. I was okay, and then Lee goes from being not caring about anybody. She just cares about the shot. She starts feeling protective about this girl, but it just happens like from 0
Yeah.
to 1,000 in instant.
They were outside of the gate of the White House, which is where I'm going to take up that's my issue. They're trying to get in. They roll up in a Hummer and in a Humvee, and they're shooting at somebody at the guard post, and then the Humvee gets blown up by somebody in the guard post, and they go, "Okay, hold on a minute." You remember what they did? They called in a tank.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Just leave with the goddamn tank.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. We had a tank?
Yeah.
Why did you kill those people?
Oh, yeah.
You have a tank. And
that didn't make any sense.
It didn't make any sense. There were some moments like that where I was like, but maybe that's the chaos of it too. Like I've never been in combat, so I have no idea.
It felt pretty. I liked the combat stuff. It felt
thought
like
so.
it was like this is
Maybe that was accurate then. Okay.
Maybe not accurate, but I felt like it was. Doing like urban warfare.
I knew people that have been in combat that just basically say that war it's not hell, it's chaos. You have no idea.
I like when the helicopter just shows up, like it just starts machine gunning the fuck out of everything.
Street level.
Yeah. And it just hovers there like this like bird of death.
Did you see okay. I love thinking about how do they shoot it. You can't see the rotors. So it's been lifted from, or they're pushing it up, and years ago, my oldest was 6, and we took her to a Cubs game, and there was a shoot going on Michigan Avenue. We were staying at the Drake, which was fucking awesome, and they were shooting for one of the Batman movies, and they actually brought a helicopter down
on
on Michigan. No, it was the helicopter was actually on.
Cool.
And so if I couldn't see the rotors, I'm like, all right, they did a really nice job with this, and it was really cool, and
it did look
cool effects, and it like it's visceral, like you can feel it in the theater, right?
I wanted to say something about the Kevlar.
Yeah.
Do you remember P.J. O'Rourke? You know who that guy is? He wrote, anyway, I read this collected essays many, many years ago, but he was a war correspondent.
Sure.
He was like in Somalia, and it really, and they suggested he put a helmet on, and he asked about the helmet, and he goes, it'll like slow a bullet from this mile per hour to this mile back. And he goes, well, I didn't really want any slow bullets in my head, so I decided not to wear one.
just let it rip.
Yeah, it's not going to really save you.
That was a suggestion from the movie, was that Lee suggested Jesse that she get Kevlar and a helmet.
Yeah.
There was no helmets after that in the movie.
Yeah.
That was real early.
Well, because they look dorky in helmets. Ask Mike Dukakis. Wasn't he
out of the tank?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wearing that helmet.
Bad look.
He looked dorky.
He did.
And I think...
what about wearing like what they call the bunny suit, John Kerry, when he was in the clean room?
Yeah.
Don't let anybody take that picture.
No. And then Rick DeSantis had those like waiter boots on.
Bad idea.
And his like suit pants tucked into him. Those people, man, you got to...
You got to think about what that visual is. We don't.
No.
I would happily do it. Yeah.
I would wear the waiters.
Are you seeing my shirt right now?
Yeah.
I wore this for the Civil
British
War.
blue, a 13 colony lead.
Yeah. This is an obvious shirts. Can we ding them? Yeah.
All right.
This is one of those like my Cubs shirt that was the just 2 before I die. I've got a few more.
Yeah.
There's a Bears one. Believe in monsters. Monsters of the Midway.
Nice.
But without saying Bears, and it's navy blue, and it's all right.
It's really your taste in T-shirts is.
I'm trying to get free shit, really.
Right on. Yeah. So you guys, you're whatever.
Are we?
What are they called? Unique shirts.
Obvious shirts.
Obvious shirts. You guys better show us the love here if you're going to get that kind of advertising.
That's right.
For free.
That's right.
Okay, so character arc, I didn't quite buy. Characters, like you're supposed to. I think when a narrative is working right, you're supposed to care about the characters. 2 of the main characters in this movie die.
I didn't care about either one of them.
Neither one.
Yeah.
I just whatever. Like these
Yeah.
people are, and
Sammy and Lee.
that is really a sign that your script just isn't accomplishing what it probably should.
What they show Lee through the whole film doing is being in war zones and living through crazy shit. But what they don't make you do is like, oh, she also has a family. She also has somebody that she loves.
She doesn't seem to.
Nobody
have
has any backstory.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So where they lack that, I feel like so many movies fall really short on dialogue, and the dialogue's awful. I thought this dialogue was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. No, I had no problem with the dialogue.
I like the dialogue, but I was so...
And maybe it works that way because these people don't have families. They've just given it all
They've given it all up.
They've given it all to just the rush of following these war stories, and they're all kind of like jaded.
Joe showing us that.
What's that?
Joe.
What about him?
That he's the one showing us that. It's like the rush. That's why we do
Oh,
this.
yeah. And the rush and the heavy alcoholism. So he gets the rush, but then he needs
We
to
got
kind
that
of...
part down pat.
We're pretty good at that. But, well, you folks don't realize what a rush it is to do these podcasts. And
Rush.
yeah, it's stressful.
It is.
And dangerous.
Somebody's got to do it.
People have walked by and wanted to talk to us.
People have died before in these podcasts. That's not true.
Probably not often, but
No.
could happen.
While we were recording, somebody certainly has died.
Oh, remember we
point.
were recording the one about about cars the day after the car ran that person down, and you were making jokes about her.
Because I didn't realize that it was at the same bar.
It was right there, like the day before.
I might have said smoking kills. And
That
I
was
still
bad,
get a
man.
chuckle about that.
That was
as I
bad.
do
That was
about
bad.
Life's a Nard.
Life's a Nard will not have been.
It won't have been dropped.
No, that's a prequel.
The Nard won't have been dropped.
Life's a Nard is a. You'll hear about it.
You'll hear about it. It's funnier later. Trust me.
Some
Or
say it's
out of order. I feel like a filmmaker now.
Yeah. So the last part of it is is just this combat kind of thing, and they're all trying to get the shot, and essentially the militias are coming in, and they're more and more, they don't seem like militias anymore. They seem like an army.
Yeah,
They all
it's an
have
army.
the same uniform. Yeah. They come in, they go into the White House, and they just kill all the Secret Service guys. Those guys are chumps. They, wearing suits instead of body armor, and they're just getting gunned down like crazy. They're like non-player characters in video games.
Yeah.
And they go in, and they're trying
Nice
to get the
reference,
shot.
by the way.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
NPCs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are. And then they shoot down the press secretary, which I have to say was kind of fun. They're just like, don't give a shit anymore.
No.
And then they get the president who's hiding under a desk. And it's very Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, because that's what
happens?
What Saddam Hussein's not his last words, but when he was caught.
Yeah.
Remember what he said?
I don't know.
God, we're not going to look it up. I
No.
may just be wrong.
We don't
That's
do
okay. I'm Saddam Hussein, and I'm ready to negotiate.
Nice.
After they dragged his ass out of that
Yeah.
little hole in the ground, and it's like,
I think
the
that
negotiation's gone.
I think your leverage is a little on the thin side now, Saddam.
Yeah.
And they popped his head off, I guess.
Eventually.
Yeah.
But he had to go through a trial.
Yeah.
Show trial of
Must have been
sorts.
fun.
Yeah.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. So they drag the president out, and then Joe runs in. He goes, "I want to
What would what would you like to say?" And he says,
he goes, "I need a quote." Yeah. And he goes, "Don't let them kill me." And then they shoot him.
Don't let them kill me, and they do.
And they shoot him. That's his last words. And earlier
and
they
Joe
said,
says, "That'll do."
Yeah. And earlier, the very beginning of it, Sammy says, when you get these people, the Mussolinis and stuff, it's always disappointing. They're just regular people.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. And so
that's important, though.
It is, because it turns out
reason.
he doesn't have anything to say.
No.
Just don't let him kill me, which anybody would feel that way.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it.
Yeah. It
And
reminds me sort of the end of I've been to Romania, as we had talked about in one episode anyway, and that the last words of dictator Ceausescu and his wife were similar, right? And they communism fell rapidly in Romania, and they pulled them and sort of had a kangaroo court trial, and it was like, and okay, you're guilty. They took him outside and lined him up and shot him. Like there wasn't, like, okay, we're gonna wait 6 months, and you can appeal that. No. They went ahead and just, okay, well, we're done with this.
Yeah. Marie Antoinette and King Louis, the whichever.
Yeah. And so this felt a little like that, and there was no trial.
Also, the capture of Osama bin Laden, or not capture, but the kill.
Yeah.
Yeah. They weren't going to screw
Wanted
around.
dead.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't want him to have a microphone to talk about it.
It was bad.
Appeal his sentence and all that. Nah, just kill him. And
what do you suppose his defense would have been? The Shaggy defense?
I think he would have just used it to be a martyr, and just because he was say what you will about him, but he was a believer. He wasn't some cynical guy who's doing it for the money. He had the money.
I was hoping you'd say you'd go on with my Shaggy defense of it wasn't me.
It wasn't me. That would have been a good one.
Wasn't me.
Yeah.
Play the video and be like,
That's
it.
Yeah. You're right.
I know.
He should have done that.
Opportunity missed.
Yeah.
He could have done that a lot
They
lot
call him
longer
a
before the
mastermind,
SEALs showed up, though,
and
right?
he couldn't even
Yeah.
come up with that.
Way before the SEALs showed up to get him, he could have just, hey, look, social media was everywhere. You had people on it.
Say, hey, man.
Yeah.
It was an inside job.
Kind of glad they got him, though.
Yeah.
Well,
that was
goes without saying.
The world is better without some people in it. Let's just say that.
Well, yeah.
So,
and with that,
that's a gnarly way to stop, man. But I guess that's what happens when you're dealing with the Civil War.
It is, yeah.
But you know,
I think see it. I mean, if you can deal with the bodies and there's like mass graves and there's other. But it was if you're into action movies,
good.
Do it.
That's a good movie.
Yep.
And but Dazed and Confused is a lot more fun. It'll make you happier.
Yep. All right. Well, there you go.
That is it. Thanks, folks. Thanks for Last Picture House for letting us set
we'll
up
be here again.
Yeah,
this
for
is
sure.
Great.
For Shiza.
Yep.
All right. Later. We did it. That was a long one. Like 1 hour and it was like 1:40.